forces withdraw, though there's been confusion on potential progress in the early stages of implementation. Hours after that meeting, a surprise announcement from President Trump that American carriers will be allowed to resume direct flights to Lebanon for the first time in more than 40 years. America is listening to Fox News.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Tropical storm Bertha expected to make landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast tomorrow.
Tropical storm Bertha is tracking across the northern Gulf south of the western Florida panhandle. It'll pass Alabama and Mississippi and make landfall late tomorrow in southeastern Louisiana. Top winds have likely peaked at 60 miles per hour. The environment ahead is quite hostile, so the winds are expected to decrease.
Fox Weather's Brian Norcross in Miami. Heavy rain, storm surge, and dangerous surf. The biggest impacts expected, along with gusty winds. Tornado watches and warnings in parts of New York for the first time in nearly 2 years, extending into neighboring New Jersey as thunderstorms roll through the Northeast today and into tonight. Prosecutors in Los Angeles say they're confident there is enough evidence to proceed with a murder trial for the singer known as David.
LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman says the prosecution plans to call over 10 different witnesses during David Anthony Burke's preliminary hearing, which is expected to last 3 to 5 days.
Both officer testimony, coroner testimony, and there will be individual witnesses as well. And again, we can rely on hearsay and other things that won't be allowed to be relied on in an actual trial.
Stressing they're not obligated to present all the evidence they'll share at a trial. The 21-year-old singer has pleaded not guilty to charges including first-degree murder, accused of sexually abusing Celeste Rivas Hernandez, fatally stabbing the 14-year-old after she threatened to report him, dismembering her body. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Hochman says if convicted, Burke would be eligible for the death penalty. Recapping stocks, a rebound today. The Dow up 385 points, the NASDAQ gaining 329. The S&P also finishing in the green, up 65, despite U.S. oil prices getting back over $85 a barrel. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good afternoon. Excuse me there. Good afternoon. We have some weather bulletins going off. Nothing for our region. We are still under a severe thunderstorm watch. That remains in effect until 8 this evening. Severe thunderstorm watch until 8 this evening. Good afternoon. I'm Nick Barczyk. It is 68 degrees with thunderstorms at 5:05 on a Tuesday. Some strong storms moving in all up and down the East Coast, even in New York. The Pirates-Yankees game in the Bronx has been rained out tonight. Doubleheader tomorrow. More details on that coming up. More on the weather watch and the sports in just a bit. According to a recent study of 30 states from the nonprofit The Civic Center, Pennsylvania has the lowest rate of 18-year-olds registering to vote at 22%. That's far below states like Oregon, which leads the way, and that is at 86%, and even neighboring states like New Jersey and West Virginia at 48% and 55% respectively. One of the biggest things states can do, analysts say, is to allow people to pre-register to vote at age 16 or earlier. Pennsylvania allows people to register only if they will be 18 by the time of the next primary or general election. If they are turning 18 between the two elections, they must wait until after the primary to register. Although Pennsylvania lawmakers have introduced bills to allow young people to pre-register to vote, none of the legislative efforts have succeeded. More next on WMBS.
So what's the difference between the sheds I see in the parking lot of the big box stores and a professionally built and installed JDM structure shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
As a company shows interest in recruiting a data center to Spring Hill Township, Fayette County, officials are working on ordinances that would create stricter limits on how they could operate. The Township Board voted last week to schedule a special meeting in September for an ordinance regulating data centers, a noise and dust ordinance, and one concerning fossil fuel power plants. The Township had begun discussions about a data center ordinance in February after seeing proposals in neighboring counties. This increased in June when Nadara, an independent power production company, told the board the company had entered into a right to purchase agreement with the Fayette Penn Economic Development Council for 800 acres near Gans. No proposals or permit applications have come before the township yet. The draft ordinances are available on the township's website at springhilltownshippa.org. A final vote on the ordinance is expected in the next few months. A group of Ross River Township residents attended a commissioners' meeting last night to voice strong opposition against the potential construction of a data center. Following widespread rumors on social media, the one might be built on the 250-acre Cedar Brook Golf Course. Residents expressed serious concerns regarding potential environmental impacts, including strain on the local water supply, property value declines, and light and noise pollution near residential areas. The commissioners assured residents that if an official proposal is ever submitted, any dealings will be handled strictly through transparent public meetings. The National Weather Service is confirming 2 tornadoes touched down in Westmoreland County in Derry Township over the weekend. Experts say the EF0 twisters respond by severe storms shortly after 5 in the afternoon Saturday. The first tornado affected an area along Red Cut Lodge Road near the township border with Latrobe, storm investigators say. The National Weather Service says the second one was near Derry's border with Ligonier Township, and more severe storms moving through the region today into the evening. A federal judge is signing off on what may be the largest class action settlement in the history of United States copyright law.
As part of the settlement, Anthropic will pay $1.5 billion to authors and book publishers who sued over copyright infringement. A group of authors accused Anthropic of misusing their books to train its AI chatbot, Claude. The payments authorized by Monday's final court approval in San Francisco will come in $3,000 installments sent to the owners of 500,000 different published works. I'm Rory O'Neill.
And in sports, no Bucco baseball this evening. Strong storms not just in our area, but in New York. The game in the Bronx this evening between your Pirates and the Yankees postponed with the weather. A split doubleheader tomorrow. Game 1 at 1:05 on WMBS. The second game at 7:05 between the Bucks and the Yanks from New York tomorrow on WMBS.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
Severe thunderstorm watch through 8 this evening for the area. Strong storms this afternoon into the evening. We went up to 79 today. Right now it's 68 degrees. Low tonight 64. Chance of showers lingering tomorrow, but not nearly as severe. 75 the high Wednesday. Low down to 53. 77 with sun Thursday. Then a nice weekend. Friday at 81 with sun on Friday. Saturday sunny and 82. Chance of showers and storms Sunday at 82. And then storms Monday at 80. But right now we have thunderstorms and 68 degrees at 5:11 on a Tuesday. And good evening from the Davis and Davis studios at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. The Stock Report next. Then the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman. Doug on until 7 this evening. Then America's Best Music throughout the night. Again, Pirates baseball. Their game in New York against the Yankees rained out this evening. More next on WMBS.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montymed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Kristen Bernard of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 385.4 points, closing at 52,225. The NASDAQ Composite was up 329.1 points, closing at 25,837. And the S&P 500 Index was up 65.9 points, closing at 7,509. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $327.74, up $1.15. Amazon, $247.55, down $2.44. Cisco, $112.18, up $1.48. Boeing, $204.80, down $4.68. Caterpillar, $889.97, up $25.67. Disney, $96.14, down 27 cents. ExxonMobil, $151.71, up $3.35. First Energy, $48.39, down 15 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $250.61, up $1.79. Home Depot, $331.60, down $1.44. Intel, $105.45, up $8.39. McDonald's, $263.91, down $3.73. Meta Platforms, $643.81, down $2.04. PNC Financial Services, $250.38, up 24 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $193.67, down 77 cents. Rockwell Automation, $464.82, up $6.11. Tesla, $378.93, up $9.36. Verizon, $43.78, up 28 cents. Walmart, $110.39, down $1.81. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 385.4 points, closing at 52,225. The NASDAQ Composite was up 329.1 points, closing at 25,837. And the S&P 500 Index was up 65.9 points, closing at 7,509. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs, this is Kristen Bernard.
The music stopped when I started having knee pain.
For gospel singer Andrea Michaud, knee pain was keeping her from doing what she loves. That's when she turned to orthopedic surgeon Jason Kinney, MD, and the team at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital.
I am singing his praises.
Our patients benefit from large health system expertise and community hospital comfort. Learn more at wvumedicine.org/Uniontown.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman, Nick Barczyk at the controls. Originally, we were going to be on till 6:40 tonight for Pirate baseball in New York, but man, the weather forecast must have been dreadful if they canceled or postponed, I should say, this game at noon today. It'll be part of a day-night doubleheader tomorrow. Second time that's happened last week. Of course, Cleveland, they postponed the first game because of the smoke in the area. And now, of course, it's happening again in New York. Last night, not a good start for Grafton Ashcroft, but we'll see how the Buccos do tomorrow. Again, a day-night doubleheader. You'll hear at least one of those games on, of course, WMBS, your local station. Again, I'm Doug. That's Nick. Thanks for joining us today. Just the other day, on Saturday, I learned the news, this very sad news, that former Congressman Tim Murphy had passed away at age 73 of an apparent heart attack at his home. Of course, Congressman Murphy served in the 18th District. Before that, he was a member of the state Senate, having replaced Mike Fisher in the state Senate when then State Senator Mike Fisher moved on to become Attorney General in Pennsylvania. I've known Tim and his wife Nan for many years, and the arrangements now are that his viewing will be this Friday, July 24th, from 2 to 8 p.m. at Beinauer Funeral Home in McMurray, PA, and then a mass of remembrance will be held at St. Thomas More Church in Upper St. Clair, right across from South Hills Village, and that will be on Saturday at 10 a.m. So we wanted to talk about the former congressman. I first met Tim in the late 1970s. He was friends of a cousin of mine. I used to see him at parties at my cousin's house, and that's when I first met Tim Murphy. And of course, knew him for many years. And it's funny how you might meet somebody, but meeting him at a party at my cousin's house. Apparently, he knew my cousin, and they worked occasionally together at McGee Hospital. And that's when I first met Tim and Nan. Nan, his now widow, and my brother were classmates at St. Elizabeth's School when I was classmates with Nan's sister, Nita. We were in the same grade, graduated from St. Elizabeth High School, and went to school together for 12 years at St. E's. We graduated in 1981. So the Saltzman family and Tim's in-laws, the Missig family, have known each other literally since the 1950s. We go back that far. And of course, as I mentioned a moment ago, met Tim Murphy in the late 1970s. He, of course, when he became senator, he replaced then Senator Mike Fisher, who was serving at the time in the state Senate. And joining us right now on the WMBS News, now federal judge in the U.S. Third Circuit Court of Appeals, Mike Fisher. Judge, thank you very much for joining us, sir. Condolences to you and so many people on the loss of Tim Murphy. We've all known him for many, many years. Died much, much too young at age 73. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Glad to be with you, Doug. Glad to be with you. Indeed, Tim's death was shocking and heartbreaking to me when I learned about it early Sunday morning. And it's just hard to put your arms around it. And, he was a great man and a terrific public servant. I'm going to miss him. Everybody's going to miss him, particularly his family.
Yeah. He'd been a guest on our show here on the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS many, many times over the years, and always focusing, of course, on his commitment to helping people when it comes to mental illness. He was a strong proponent of, we talked one time, and I've talked on this show about my issues dealing with ADHD and how we talked about how jokes should not be made about mental illness. And that's one of the reasons perhaps why people don't take it as seriously as it should be, because it's sometimes considered a joke and maybe you're off your meds. And we talked about no one would ever say something like that to somebody going through chemotherapy treatment, but for some reason people will joke about mental illness, but he didn't joke about it. He was fully committed to helping, especially veterans in struggling with PTSD, correct?
Yeah, so that was certainly a commitment of his, and somebody who really, he was a psychologist, and that was his profession before he ventured into politics in 1996. But he used the experience he had in that profession to try to help the people of his district, but first in the state Senate, and then in the Congress, and the people across Pennsylvania. And he did a great job of it, and he was committed to that and so many other things.
I mean, he authored what became known as the landmark Helping Families in Mental Health Crisis Act, and that became part of a broader Century Cures Act of 2016. And he pushed for that sometimes in a congressional district and part of the Republican, of course, conference in D.C., which wasn't always pushing to provide funding, federal funding for agencies like that. But he didn't give up. It wasn't as if it passed on its first try, was it? It took quite some time to get that through.
No, it didn't. And I mean, he started working on it when he got to the state Senate, and then he took his ideas to Congress. And but he fought to the end to make it a reality, and gained a lot of respect during that period of time all across the country from his colleagues on both sides of the aisle in Congress. But he did so many other things. He was an incredibly hard worker. And I first got to meet him. As I certainly remember, and you remember, after four 4-year terms in the Senate, I decided that I was going to seek the office of Attorney General in Pennsylvania, and obviously didn't run for re-election in 1996, but really had no idea who would be the person who might come along and succeed me, whether it be the Republican or Democrat in the contest. But early on in 96, or perhaps late in 95, to be exact, I got to meet Tim. And, Tim actually got his first push, his first boost from Rick Santorum, who suggested to him if he wanted to get started in politics, why not run for the Senate seat that I was going to vacate in my statewide run. And he got in, he jumped in, he was fully committed to the race, and he ran, he worked hard, we worked side by side. And, I helped him being on the ticket in the district, and he helped me by, seeing people I may not have been able to see in that race because I was somewhere else in the state. And so we became close allies all during my continued elected office, which continued up until 2004 when I joined the U.S. Court of Appeals. But working with Tim then at that point, I was named by the Chief Justice to serve on the U.S. Court's Budget Committee. And the Budget Committee was a very important position for the judiciary because it was the committee through which we were able to make our request to Congress for our financial needs. And I met a lot with Tim when I would be in D.C. I'd be there for 2 or 3 days. And in addition to working with the Senate, Rick and Senator Specter, and then after Rick left with Bob Casey, I worked with a number of our congressmen, but I didn't work with anyone any more than Tim. Tim and I would meet at least once on every trip. We'd talk about the judiciary's needs. He would then tell me about everything he was doing in the mental health area, and working for veterans, and becoming a member of the Navy. And he was so proud of all that. But he never stopped working for the people back home.
No, you're absolutely right. And his commitment to that, and as I mentioned, he'd been on our radio show a number of times talking about the issues, and he just wasn't fluffing over it. These things he was so truly committed to. I bumped into him one day at a coffee shop, and he said, "Hey, Doug, do you have a few minutes? This is a topic I think you should discuss on your radio show." And here we are suddenly discussing something which then became a topic of discussion, and he came on my show to talk about it. He had a number of books that came out, one called The Angry Child, addressing issues like that. He was a child psychologist, but his understanding of mental health issues and his pushing for it went well beyond just children. But his true commitment to that is what now has brought out so many people, including now state senator from southern Allegheny County, of course, and part of the West Hills, Devlin Robinson, who actually served on Tim's staff when he was a state senator. And, of course, I was director of Senator Arlen Specter's office in western Pennsylvania back in those days as well. And Tim a number of times said, "Doug, I'd like you to come work for me." And I said, "Well, I appreciate the honor, Tim, but I've got a job right now." And our offices worked well together. Originally from Cleveland. A lot of people probably didn't know that, but he came to Pittsburgh.
He didn't let anybody know he was from Cleveland. He made sure he wore that Steeler Penguin gear. But a funny story I need to tell about Tim. He was a serious candidate, serious public official. Was when he first got in the race in early '96. There weren't too many people who knew who Tim Murphy was, and I met with him, as I would meet with him with some regularity, and I'd say, "Tim, look, don't worry about that." He said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, you're going to campaign, you're going to get better known, but you can ride on the coattails of two other Murphys who were around. There was a congressman from southwestern Pennsylvania, Austin Murphy, who still had a pretty good name at that point. People remembered that name. And then, of course, the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh was Tom Murphy. And I would say, don't worry, just put that sign up there that says Murphy for state senate. He said, I want it to say Tim Murphy. I said, well, don't confuse the people too much. Just let them make sure that they know that Murphy's running for the state senate. And, he says, I want to get elected on my own name. I said, Tim, it doesn't matter how you get elected. I said, you just want to get more votes than the other guy. And he would fight my cajoling all along. And, of course, I was encouraging him. And by the time, his Senate career ended and he became a congressman, he was the Murphy that was known in the area, not the others. So he became very proud of that, of establishing himself. But he begrudgingly accepted the votes he got because they thought he maybe was the mayor. So just a little funny story about Tim and my relationship.
Austin Murphy was a guest on our show one time, and this was after he was in Congress. And he used to joke that people started to think that he was Tim Murphy because Tim Murphy's name was so well known. And of course, Austin Murphy lived to be almost 100, died in his late 90s. Of course, he was from Washington County and was in the State House like you were, and the State Senate, and then in the House of Representatives until 1995. He kidded about he got better known, he said, after he was done in Congress because of Tim Murphy. Their districts at one point, his former district and Tim's district overlapped slightly during one of the reapportionments, but no, that's a good story about Tim
got well known and well loved in his own right, he did that by a lot of hard work, he's going to be, he was a loss to the people when he left Congress, but I have to say that he was continued to be committed to helping veterans and those with mental health disabilities. And, he didn't go and hide, but he was out there working hard, and he continued to help build our community.
No, you're right. Even in his post-government career, he did not go, as you mentioned, did not go and hide, but rather he continued to do what he thought was best and was always available for interviews. You would see him nationally and locally. He never turned down an opportunity to talk about these issues, and particularly after his government career. He realized that and the importance of doing it, and continued to do that. He has such a shock. 73 years old, far too young to lose Tim Murphy, who so many of us considered a friend. As I mentioned earlier, my gosh, I met him in the late 1970s at a party at my cousin's house when I met another guy named Rick Santorum at that same party, of all things. That
was a powerhouse. That was a powerhouse party that you had going, Doug. And one of the other things that Tim was very proud of was he joined the U.S. Navy Reserve and joined their Medical Services Corps when he was in Congress, and that was important to him. It was important to him because he wanted to help. He wanted to help members of the military community and the Navy in the areas of with mental health issues, and that was something that he worked hard on. But he did it. He did it as where he spent a lot of time on reserve duty while he was in Congress, and it's something that very few people knew or realized.
Not too many people his age went through basic training, and he did.
Exactly.
And he was a Navy Reserve commander, went through basic underwater demolition SEAL training, of all things. And I'm sure he was twice as old as most of the guys going through that basic training. Very, very impressive that he chose.
That's what surprised me so much when I received the heartbreaking news about his death. I've seen Tim not as much as I used to when I was, we shared jobs in state government, but we were both from the Upper St. Clair area, and our families knew one another. My kids knew his daughter Devon, so we would continue to see one another with some degree of regularity. And he was always on the go. He seemed so physically fit. I never heard him complain about illness. Never heard him complain about any maladies. And then to hear that, he dropped over dead at home on a Saturday night, just broke my heart. Just breaks my heart to think of it.
I couldn't believe it when I got that news very, very early in the morning on Sunday. I almost didn't believe it. Doing a radio show like this, I got a second source. I'm like, before I tell anybody this, I got to confirm this is the case, and very sad news. But again, joining us on the Afternoon Drive show on WMBS, Judge Mike Fisher from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. Full disclosure, I worked for Mike back in the day, of course, when then Senator Mike Fisher was in the state Senate. It was an honor to work for him in his Harrisburg office.
Well, you were a great help, Doug, and you've continued to stay involved in the community yourself and do this fine radio show with regularity. You've been somebody that we all look to in the media and politics. And those of us who were in elected office couldn't get the job done without people like you when you were out there working in the communities for us. So glad to hear that to know that you're still out there doing what you do best.
Even as I approach full retirement, it's hard to believe. I was just a kid when I came to work for Mike Fisher back in the day. I don't know how a kid can be talking about full retirement when the boss is still working. Is that how it is? I guess I'm still working too. Don't worry. It's I'm not completely retired. But as I look at my group of friends, all from St. Elizabeth School, half of them at this point are retired. I'm like, good heavens, guys, how did this happen? We used to be hanging out with Tim Murphy's sister-in-law, Nita Missick, who we graduated in the class of 1981, and was a.
But when we lose somebody when the community loses somebody like Tim, it leaves a void, and it makes me think that those of us who have this institutional knowledge, community knowledge, we just can't quit. We've got to stay involved somehow, to whatever degree we can. But I'm just at a loss. This is really the first time I've talked about Tim's death this afternoon, and I'm just at a loss to deal with it. And but anyways, Douglas, thank you for reaching out to me as you have in the past for different things, and look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, to be able to see you on Saturday at the memorial service for Tim.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Best wishes. Bye-bye.
U.S. Federal District Court Judge Mike Fisher joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line. Quite a resume he has, of course, of himself. State representative, state senator, Pennsylvania Attorney General, and then nominated and confirmed unanimously by the United States Senate to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, which is, of course, the court level right below the U.S. Supreme Court. Coming up next, we're really going to change topics here. We're going to check in with our old friend Jeff Gilbert, of course, who, of course, was an automotive industry analyst for CBS News for decades. We're going to talk to him coming up about the latest on electric vehicles, really changing topics. But in the third half of the show, we're going to check in with John Delano, who is, speaking of retired political analyst with KDKA TV. We'll talk to him about Tim Murphy as well, as we dedicate today's show to the memory of former Congressman Tim Murphy. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
And you'll see there's a whole new Ford for you and me.
It's the summer sales event going on now at Thurby's Riverside Ford. That means all new Ford Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Bronco, and F-150s come with 0% Ford credit financing for 36 months, plus a $1,000 Ford factory rebate. And as a bonus, all vehicles come with a 2-year, 25,000-mile Ford complimentary maintenance plan.
Check out these low payments on a new 2026 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend or a new 2026 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive pickup. Just $399 per month for 36 months with $999 down. Ford Motor Credit financing required. 3-year lease is based on 10,500 miles per year. No security deposit required. Offer ends August 3rd, 2026.
See Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley at Thurby Riverside Ford, your one Ford Elite Presidential Award-winning dealer, located 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin. It's time to drive a Ford again.
Are your sofa cushions flat? Are the springs sagging or broken? Does the fabric show signs of wear from years of use? Well, now is a great time to buy a sofa at Chesler's Fine Furniture during their Craftmaster Custom Order Sale. Choose from 50 different styles and more than 1,200 different fabrics and colors. The possibilities are endless with beauty and quality inside and out. Craftmaster has delivered quality and value by using the latest in furniture design and technology. In fact, Craftmaster cushions and decks have been tested and shown to deliver 23% greater support over a 10-year period. Only because Chesler's is confident that the quality is built in, they are offering a limited 5-year warranty on all suits. Craftmaster sofas start at just $9.99 with matching love seats and chairs available. All living room suits will be on sale at Chesler's, with sofas starting as low as $4.99. Credit terms and delivery are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends.
Get ready for dirt, diesel, and heart-pounding action at the Fayette County Fair. From Thursday, July 30th to Saturday, August 8th, make your way to the Fayette County Fairgrounds for the experience of a lifetime. They're loaded with action-packed events every day for the entire family to enjoy. See the brute force of the USA tractor, truck, stock, and semi-pulls, the Wild Western Rodeo, or the mayhem of Rise Wrestling. Experience adrenaline-packed motocross races, then buckle up for 2 hardcore demolition derbies. Watch the guarded and deadweight tractor pull, rev up your engines for monster truck races featuring freestyle motocross, and see the madness of Mudmania. Mark your calendars now, fire up your summer, and don't miss a single night of the action at the Fayette County Fair. For the full fair schedule and for a list of advanced ticket locations where you could save $5 and get your Fayette County Fair tickets for just $15, visit FayetteFair.com.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
That is Billy Idol bringing us out of the break here on the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm Doug Saltzman. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch here in southwestern Pennsylvania. And in fact, I guess there's a tornado watch from Kentucky over to New York City, which has postponed tonight's Pirates game. They made a decision at noon today for the Pirates to postpone their game till tomorrow. It'll be a day-night doubleheader. Are we airing both of those games tomorrow, Nick, or just the evening game?
We're airing both games, Douglas.
Both games, so a day long of Pirate baseball on WMBS. Of course, the Buccos started 2-3 coming out of the break in Cleveland and lost the first game to the Yankees in New York. We'll see how they do tomorrow. But, yeah, the weather situation, and when you take a look at that swath of weather all the way across parts of the Northeast, it's something else. Again, we want to thank Judge Mike Fisher for joining us, talking about and the career, the impact of former Congressman Tim Murphy, who died very suddenly Saturday at his home of a heart attack at age 73. Who, of course, represented this area, southwestern PA, in the state Senate, also the U.S. House of Representatives. We'll be talking with former KDKA TV politics and money editor John Delano coming up in the third half of the show tonight, right after the 6 o'clock news. But joining us right now, our good friend, of course, talk about automobiles, former CBS News Radio automotive industry analyst, reporter with WWJ News Radio 950 in Detroit, and involved in all things media. Check him out on Twitter at Jeffrey Gilbert, of course. Jeff Gilbert. Jeff, thanks for joining us today. It's good to have you. How have you been?
Yeah, good to be with you.
Yeah, appreciate your taking the time. A lot of talk lately in the media about electric vehicles. And electric vehicles are nothing new, but there was a time when we didn't think you could drive them in southwestern PA, certainly on some of the hills in Pittsburgh, because the motors just couldn't handle hills. That seems like that might as well be 100 years ago. Now, I regularly drive a hybrid car, and the pickup in these cars is absolutely amazing. I catch myself driving my own car, realizing, I can't get out onto that interstate as quick as I could in the electric car. But a lot of changes, though, in the industry, I guess, correct?
Yeah, there are. First, you talk about the acceleration. Electric cars have instant acceleration, so there's no issue there. I test drive a bunch of different cars. They just happen to have a Subaru Trail Seeker, which is a new EV joint venture with Toyota that Subaru has. And this thing has real pickup. You put your foot down on the gas. Oops, did I say gas? On the accelerator, and it really moves. But, yeah, the EV industry is changing. It's kind of settled in at, say, maybe 8% of the market.
Are we looking at it staying there? I mean, there aren't the tax benefits there once were to buy electric. Although with gas prices now up over $4 here in southwestern PA, I just noticed that today driving here. Are folks going to look back at electric because of the price of gas, or is that something that just would not swing somebody in that direction?
Yeah, at this particular point, there's been interest, people checking out electric vehicles, but not necessarily a huge jump in sales. Where EVs really work best, it's turned out, is for commuter vehicles. If you have a vehicle, you're going back and forth, you're not driving a ton, they have 250 to 300 miles minimum, most of them these days in terms of range. But if you're not planning to take big trips, then EVs work really well for you. It's still problematic if you want to go somewhere and have to recharge on the road. It's still not as easy as filling up with a tank of gasoline. But the industry feels that the big competition is going to be in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. That's kind of mid-size SUV territory, and that's where the big competition is going to be for EVs in the coming years.
And, of course, what we're talking about is fully electric vehicles. And I think most people who...
They call them BEVs in industry lingo, battery electric vehicles versus hybrid vehicles, which have an electric powertrain but also have a gasoline powertrain.
Yeah. As I said, a job I have now, I'm driving for the first time in a hybrid. Always shocking that I can drive 200 miles a day, and the gas gauge doesn't seem to change, which means it's doing a lot on the electric end of things. Early in the world of electric vehicles, one of the issues too is how long it took to charge a battery, or as you mentioned, the fully electric vehicle or the plug-in vehicle. That issue seems to be gone. There was a time you had to have a special outlet in your garage or to charge a vehicle like that. That certainly has changed as well through this, correct?
No, not really. The situation is you've got different kinds of charging. Most EVs come with a wall socket plug, and that works, but that's not enough electricity to really charge quickly. It's like you can fill up a glass of water with an eyedropper, but you're not going to want to do it. But it does work in a pinch. if you're going to buy an electric vehicle, you probably want to have what's called a level 2 charger at home. And that's enough to maybe charge your vehicle overnight, uses 240 volts of electricity, and depending on how much, what your house's situation is, it can cost a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000 to have one installed in your house. But if you're going to have an EV, you really need to have a dedicated charger.
Yeah. So when again, we'll take this down to basics. You see these charging stations. I see them on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at rest stops. Let's say you need to charge your vehicle. How much time do you need to commit to having a fully charged vehicle if you're not quite at zero, but close to it? How long does it usually take, especially if you're using one of those public?
Yeah, it depends on the vehicle and the charger. A level 3 charger, which is a fast charger, and a vehicle that can accept it, that will go from about 20% to 80% in a half an hour. So that's enough to refill and get you on your way. After 80%, it starts to slow down. So, that's about all you would want to charge it to on the road. That, of course, is an average. Some people have vehicles that can't take that fast charge, and it takes them longer to fill up. Sometimes the station isn't running as fast as others because of the electrical circuit it's on. So it varies.
Yeah. It's interesting, too. You follow, of course, the industry closer than anybody else imaginable. When they first came out, could you ever have imagined that you would have sports cars, Mustangs, with electric? Early on, did you think that was even a possibility, that the technology would have upgraded that quickly?
Well, yes, because early on I drove a prototype electric sports car that Dodge had put together, and I put my foot down on the accelerator and nearly broke my neck. And this was before any of the modern EVs were out there. This was an early prototype. So early on I realized that you could put a lot of power in these motors. But let's face it, an electric motor powers a locomotive. So it depends on how much power you want to get in there. A lot of people had the thought early on of EVs as being glorified golf carts, essentially. But, it just depends on how big a motor you want to put in and how much you're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, folks who listen to the show know I love to watch documentaries. And I remember many years ago, I loved trains and used to do model railroading quite a bit. And when I learned that a locomotive has an electric engine, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Really? They're not diesel? What am I missing here? But yeah, when you think about what an electric engine can do for a locomotive and the amount of weight it pulls, they don't have good pickup maybe, but the locomotives can do their job. As we talked with Jeff Gilbert, we miss you, of course, on CBS News Radio. And, but of course, you're still working and doing national work through WWJ in Detroit. And folks, check him out on Twitter at Jeffrey Gilbert. Where else can folks find out what you're up to and what you're reporting on, Jeff?
Well, I'm trying to play around with Substack, so that's Jeffrey D. Gilbert, if somebody wants to follow me there. And I do syndicate my car chronicles, so that does run on a few other radio stations here and there.
Well, we got to get it running on WMBS if you'll give us permission, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, we'll get that.
Absolutely. Have somebody reach out to me, and I'll tell them how they can run it. I'd love to have you.
Well, we're always looking for shows to put on the station as well. And as I always say, Baldwin High School Zone, class of, well, I won't say your class. I won't give away your age.
That's okay. 1973. I'm proud. Proud to have survived this long.
And my brother was in the high school at the same time you were. I'm guessing you didn't bump into each other. The classes at Baldwin in those days had over 1,000, so I'm guessing maybe you didn't meet each other. If you did, you wouldn't have known it. So we do appreciate you taking time to join us, Jeff. Look forward to our next conversation with you. And
the former head coach at Pitt, Dave Wanstedt, was in my class too, and I didn't know him. So big school.
But I'm sure he knew you, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, right.
We'll check in with Wanstedt next time we have him on the show. So, all right, very good. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
All right, take care. Jeff Gilbert, again, check him out, folks. And we'll check in to see if we possibility to have Jeff's show here on WMBS. And again, on Substack at Jeffrey D. Gilbert. And on Twitter, Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Gilbert. Just you'll find all kind of good stuff. We're going to take a break, come back. We'll wrap up the first hour. I'm Doug. That's Nick. Stick around.
Trade me in!
It's Jessica Karingala and Joe Malika here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer is here, and there's never been a better time to upgrade during the Ford Summer Sales event.
Looking for America's best-selling truck? Right now, drive home a new Ford F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP. Or choose up to $7,000 off MSRP with low financing rates as low as 3.9 for 60 months or 4.9 for 72, or even 84 months.
Need something versatile for work, weekends, and everything in between? Check out other models, such as the Maverick, Bronco Sport, or Explorer, all ready for your next summer adventure.
Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running all summer long with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery to cover your needs.
Don't wait. These summer savings won't last forever. Your truck knows, shouldn't you? That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees. Financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
It's the biggest sale ever at Pat's Bridal Boutique, celebrating 40 years in business. Hundreds of gowns on sale. Select bridals start at $99, and full-price bridals are 20% off. Select bridesmaids gowns only $25, and short summer dresses for special occasions start at $29. Never too early to think about prom. All Pat's prom gowns also on sale, so hurry for best selection. Star Spangled Savings end July 31st. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Pat's Bridal Boutique, West Crawford Avenue in Connellsville.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
For over 50 years, Mauser's Tire Center has kept our community rolling safely. Located on Route 40 West at Seawright's Crossroads, they're your trusted source for new, used, and recap tires, plus expert repairs. Need a new set or a quick fix? Then call Mauser's at 724-249-2410, and they'll get you ready for the road. Mauser's Tire Center, 5 decades of keeping you safe.
WMBS.
Originally, we were going to be with you till 6:40 tonight, but Power Game's been postponed due to weather in New York, so we're going to be with you till 7 o'clock tonight. John Delano is going to join us in the third half of the show. Then we're going to check in with the National Weather Service about this weather situation. All that coming up during the 7 o'clock hour. Again, I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
He needs more money. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. War Secretary Pete Hegseth says makes the case for additional funding as he appears before a Senate panel.
End this war right now.
Protesters interrupted Secretary Hegseth, but he stressed the need for added funds.
$1.5 trillion is what the president seeks and what we need to defend the country.
The secretary said readiness and training would suffer without it, but committee vice chair Senator Patty Murray noted irony in the need for more money.
How is it possible if their capabilities were, quote, functionally destroyed 3 months earlier, as she claimed?
Hegseth said Iran still has capabilities, but because of the U.S.,
Iran is at the weakest point militarily it has ever been in.
Hegseth said the cost of the war so far, more than $37 billion.
Fox's Colonel Scott. President Trump sitting down with the leader of Lebanon at the White House. One of the topics discussed, the fight against Iran-backed Hezbollah.
We have some
very concrete plans already in store for that, with others going in and helping.
This comes as Israel continues to battle Hezbollah in parts of southern Lebanon. The group also rejects a potential peace deal between Israel and Iran, where they would be disarmed. Tropical storm Bertha getting closer to the western Florida panhandle.
It'll pass Alabama and Mississippi and make landfall late tomorrow in southeastern Louisiana. Top winds have likely peaked at 60 miles per hour. The environment ahead is quite hostile, so the winds are expected to decrease before it does indeed make landfall tomorrow.
Fox Weather's Brian Norcross. The storm is about 125 miles south of Panama City, Florida, and 200 miles southeast of Mobile, Alabama. Bertha is the second named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. Wall Street computer chip and AI makers led the gains for stocks. The Dow added 385, the Nasdaq up 329. America is listening to Fox News.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has two convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Bortz Jr.
Prosecutors of the UK released more information on the killing of a former politician.
Anne Widdecombe's body was found in her kitchen on July 9th. A day earlier, prosecutors say the 78-year-old had been beaten to death with a hammer. 28-year-old Joshua Kerry's appeared in court accused of murdering the former Conservative government minister. Prosecutors say Kerry struck Widdecombe 21 times. The attack was caught on security camera footage in her home. Police are still investigating whether there was a terrorist or political motive. In recent years, Widdecombe was a high-profile spokeswoman for the Reform UK party. Joshua Kerry has yet to enter a plea. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
As concerns grow worldwide over the harmful effects of digital content on kids, lawmakers in France have adopted a bill that bans children under 15 from using social media, making it the first country in the European Union to do so. The bill also bans the use of mobile phones in high schools. This legislation is one of the final major pieces of legislation before President Emmanuel Macron leaves office next year. He wants the law to take effect at the start of the new school year in September, but a review to see whether the law complies with the French Constitution is likely to take place, and that could delay it. Authorities are warning that some drug smugglers are using rideshare services to move migrants into the U.S.
Border Patrol warning drivers to be on the lookout for pickup requests that are in remote areas near the border, third-party bookings, or passengers who look disoriented or covered in dirt. Now, all this comes as illegal crossings remain near historic lows. Agents warn drivers who unknowingly transport illegal migrants could face alien smuggling or harboring charges.
Fox's Brooke Taylor in Dallas. Uber tells Fox News the safety of its drivers is a top priority and that they are allowed to cancel any ride in which they feel unsafe. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family-owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. And now the news.
Good evening, 6:05 on a Tuesday. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis studios. A flood watch through 11 this evening, 67 degrees under cloudy skies. The storms are all but done for this evening. The game between the Yankees and the Pirates in New York rained out tonight, doubleheader tomorrow. Much more on the weather watch and the sports in just a bit. Price of gas in western Pennsylvania went up 25 cents this week to an average of $4.26 a gallon. Regional prices here in Uniontown, $4.45. And in Greensburg, $4.26, $4.29 in Washington and Pittsburgh. And this marks the first time the national price is at $4 since mid-June, with the national average at $4 right on the nose, jumping 13 cents over the week. Crude oil going past $80 a barrel as well this week. A recent study released this week shows that of 30 states with a nonprofit, the Civic Center, Pennsylvania, has the lowest rate of 18-year-olds registering to vote at 22%. That's far below states like Oregon, which leads the way at 86%, and New Jersey and West Virginia, neighboring states, at 48% and 55% respectively. One of the biggest things states can do, analysts say, is to allow people to pre-register to vote at age 16. Pennsylvania allows people to register only if they will be 18 by the time of the next primary or general election. If they are turning 18 between the two elections, they must wait until after the primary to register. Although lawmakers in Pennsylvania have introduced bills to allow young people to pre-register to vote, none of the legislative efforts have succeeded. The National Weather Service confirms that 4 tornadoes touched down in Pennsylvania Saturday. 2 EF0 twisters were in Derry Township, Westmoreland County. The first was along Red Cut Lodge Road in the township border with Latrobe. The second was along Rod Gun Road, Matson Road, and Cary Lane near the Derry's border with Ligonier Township. The others were in EF1 in Strattonville, Clarion County, and an EF0 in Punxsutawney and Jefferson. Kennywood, Sandcastle, and Idlewild in Soak Zone were closed for today into the evening as severe storms went through the area. The parks are scheduled to reopen tomorrow, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Gates and Storybook Forest at Idlewild will open at 10:30 in the morning. Visitors who had tickets for Kennywood and Sandcastle dated for July 21st will be able to use them on any other 2026 operating day at the park they are purchased for. West Virginia's Public Service Commission has settled a dispute over utility pole attachments. Officials had complained that Mon Power, First Energy, and Frontier Energy disagreed over what equipment could go on shared poles. The two sides reached an agreement in June that officials say will speed up the attachment process. The commission has also opened a review into how much power West Virginia utilities generate on their own as part of a new law passed by state lawmakers. Public comments on that review are due by the 20th of August. More next on WMBS.
Is it time for your first home or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
In sports, too much bad weather in New York. Pirates, Yankees rained out tonight. Doubleheader tomorrow. First game at 1:05, second game at 7:05. Both games on WMBS.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51.
The Weather Watch is being brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Call Nate at 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more. Get a free quote now. And right now it's 67 degrees. Flood watch through 11 this evening. Low tonight 65. Rain again tomorrow. Not as severe though at 73. Sunny Thursday at 76. Sunny Friday and Saturday. High both days at 81. Lows in the upper 50s. 82 on Sunday with thunderstorms, and same for Monday at 80. Right now 67. Cloudy skies at 6:10. On a Tuesday evening, flood watch for the next 5 hours or so through 11 tonight. Good evening. I'm Nick Barczyk. Again, Pirates Yankees rain down in New York. Doubleheader on the way tomorrow. First game at 1 o'clock on WMBS. And more of the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman next on WMBS. Good evening. The Weather Watch has been brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Nate is there for you. Call 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more.
Everything is growing, and Madewell Services is here to help. They offer full lawn care service, including mulching, landscaping and planting, weekly grass cutting, power washing, and more. Madewell Services also provides professional cleaning services for your home or office, moving in or out service, party cleanups, weekly cleanings, and junk removal. Licensed and insured for peace of mind. Call Madewell Services today at 724-912-1805. That's 724-912-1805 for a free estimate.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals. Locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Drag me in!
It's Jessica Karingala and Joe Malika here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer is here, and there's never been a better time to upgrade during the Ford Summer Sales event.
Looking for America's best-selling truck? Right now, drive home a new Ford F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP, or choose up to $7,000 off MSRP with low financing rates as low as 3.9 for 60 months or 4.9 for 72, or even 84 months.
Need something versatile for work, weekends, and everything in between? Check out other models such as the Maverick, Bronco Sport, or Explorer, all ready for your next summer adventure.
Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running all summer long with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery to cover your needs.
Don't wait. These summer savings won't last forever. Your truck knows, shouldn't you? That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or fordofuniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees. Financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
When you're looking for high-quality medical care at an affordable price, look no further than Centerville Clinics. Dr. Robert Hogan, a board-certified internal medicine physician, has joined the staff at Uniontown Family Doctors, part of the Centerville Clinics network, and is now accepting new patients. To schedule your appointment, call 724-632-6801. Centerville Clinics participates with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, and provides quality health care regardless of your ability to pay. Centerville Clinics, caring for our community, one patient at a time. Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. Main Street Theater Company presents Rent, July 24th and 25th at 7 p.m. and July 26th at 2. A Tony Award-winning musical and Pulitzer Prize drama winner, Rent follows the life of impoverished young artists and musicians struggling to survive and create in New York's Lower East Side. With songs that rock and a story that resonates with audiences of all ages, Rent has become a pop culture phenomenon. Get tickets online at statetheater.info or call 724-439-1360.
It's the biggest sale ever at Pat's Bridal Boutique, celebrating 40 years in business. Hundreds of gowns on sale. Select bridals start at $99, and full-price bridals are 20% off. Select bridesmaids gowns only $25, and short summer dresses for special occasions start at $29. Never too early to think about prom. All Pat's prom gowns also on sale, so hurry for best selection. Star Spangled Savings end July 31st. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Pat's Bridal Boutique, West Crawford Avenue in Connellsville.
Get ready for dirt, diesel, and heart-pounding action at the Fayette County Fair. From Thursday, July 30th to Saturday, August 8th, make your way to the Fayette County Fairgrounds for the experience of a lifetime. They're loaded with action-packed events every day for the entire family to enjoy. See the brute force of the USA tractor, truck, stock, and semi-pulls, the Wild Western Rodeo, or the mayhem of Rise Wrestling. Experience adrenaline-packed motocross races, then buckle up for 2 hardcore demolition derbies. Watch the guarded and deadweight tractor pull, rev up your engines for monster truck races featuring freestyle motocross, and see the madness of Mudmania. Mark your calendars now, fire up your summer, and don't miss a single night of the action at the Fayette County Fair. For the full fair schedule and for a list of advanced ticket locations where you could save $5 and get your Fayette County Fair tickets for just $15, visit FayetteFair.com.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, by the way, in Double Trouble. I never mentioned that music. I always talk about the other line of music, but yeah, you hear that music. You know, it's the beginning of the hour, and of course we have another Stevie Ray Vaughan song that wraps up the hour. Nick, I don't know. Do you know the names of those songs? I don't know if you do or not. Probably not. After all these years, I probably mentioned that to you at some point. But that opening song is "Empty Arms," which is on the Sky is Crying CD, and the closing song is "So Excited," again by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Fantastic guitarist. So that's the opening and closing songs on the Afternoon Drive Show at the top and bottom. I'm sorry, at the top of the hour, after the top of the hour, and before the top of the hour. Does that make sense, Nick? Am I making any sense at all?
Not at all, Doug, but neither do I. So
it's a good fit, that's for sure. We're going to be with you. Originally, it was going to be a shorter show tonight because of the Pirate game, but many hours ago, the Pirate game got postponed due to incoming inclement weather in the New York City area. Of course, the Pirates are playing the Bronx Bombers. It was nice to see them come back last night. They were down 4-0, came back, were winning 5-4, and then it fell apart after that. Boy, he gave up 7 earned runs, Ashcraft, and in just 3 innings. Struggling lately, isn't he?
yes, that's a really good Yankee lineup and a lot of runs. But how about that as Merlin Valdez for the Pirates? Another home run for the rookie, man. But it was a fun game last night, even though they lost.
Yeah, the announcer, Pirates play-by-play announcer, I thought was going to have a stroke. He was screaming so much when he hit another home run. Yeah, it is really. But he also said something that would upset Lanny Viteri. He said it's unbelievable, and of course, Lanny's no fan of that terminology when it comes to Pirate baseball. I'll stop asking Nick questions so he can get our first guest on the line. Turning to a very serious topic. Earlier, we, of course, talked with Judge Mike Fisher about now, sadly, the late Tim Murphy, who died very young at age 73 on Saturday, died of a heart attack. His viewing is this Friday, funeral Saturday. And I've known Tim and Tim's wife and her family. I've known them since the early 70s. First met Tim in the late 70s. I met him, of all things, at a party my cousin used to throw. Terrific parties they had. That's where I met Tim Murphy and his wife, and then also met Rick Santorum at those same parties back in the day. Again, dedicating today's show to Tim Murphy, who's a longtime friend, member of the state Senate, member of the, of course, member also of the U.S. House of Representatives. As I mentioned, John Delano joining us, Douglas. Joining us on the WM, former, now retired, Money and Politics editor at KDKA TV2, and a frequent commentator on stations around this area and nationally as well. Joining us to take a few moments here to talk about, sadly now, the late Tim Murphy. A real shock to a lot of people. A young guy, 73 years old, to pass away like that unexpectedly. When you see Tim, you don't think of somebody who's having heart issues. I don't think you've ever mentioned it to me, and I've known him for decades, as I mentioned a moment ago, since the late 1970s. But John, first off, John, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well, and thank you, Doug. Always good to be with you and your listeners, even on sad occasions like this. I think most of us knew Tim Murphy. He was my state senator, so I knew him as our state senator, later congressman from the southwestern part of Pennsylvania, and always a very responsive fellow. Whenever I needed a comment on something, I could call him, and 9 times out of 10, he'd go on the air and talk. And in my business, you always appreciate an elected official who's willing to comment on just about anything. Unfortunately, we have too many members of Congress, even from our area, who I suspect you've never gotten on radio or TV.
I've tried.
Well, you tried and I tried, but as I say, some are very difficult. I remember years ago when I worked in the Congress, we had a local representative who basically informed my boss, who was Congressman Doug Walgren, we always said yes to the media, no matter what. But this congressman advised him that that was the wrong thing to do and that you should never go on television or radio because you'll only hurt yourself. And he was a very old school member of Congress, but unfortunately some of our younger members in this area have the same attitude. And it's not just Congress, but in other offices as well.
Yeah,
But Tim was not like that. Tim was not like that. Tim was very responsive.
Yeah, and even out of office, he continued to be a guest on our radio show here, talking about a number of topics. And of course, his topic of interest, of course, was mental health. And he and I discussed issues and very bluntly about how people should not make jokes about mental health. For some reason, people can say, "Oh, what, are you off your meds today?" or something like that. No one, and I said it earlier in the show, no one would ever say, "What, are you off your chemo today?" But for some reason, mental health issues is the butt of jokes at times, and I think as a result, people don't take it seriously as they could, and that bothered Tim Murphy a lot, didn't it?
Yes, it did, and he was obviously very serious about the issue. He pushed his mental health bill at a time when it was tough to get people's attention, although he used, and this is in a positive sense, the horrific killings of children in schools as a reason for passing his bill. And ultimately, it did pass the House. It did not pass the Senate, but it was incorporated in some of the Obama legislation in the end. And this happens in government and Congress all the time, where you come up with a good idea. Your bill doesn't quite make it, but your idea does in another format or two, and he can certainly take credit for that.
Yeah, that what he worked on in the state Senate. Of course, he replaced Mike Fisher in the state Senate when Fisher became Attorney General, and then when they redistricted things and made a district that was very winnable for a Republican, he ran in the 18th congressional district, and continued on some of those issues, dealing with psychological ailments like depression. And also, he was a Navy veteran himself, a commander in the Navy. Went and did his when most guys and gals are struggling to do basic training at age 18, he did it later in life. That doesn't happen too often, does it?
No, and it was very unusual. He basically joined the military later in life, and I remember talking to him about basic training because he had to go through the same routine as everybody else, and it was a little tougher for him. But he was a really strong and hearty and healthy guy, which is why the suddenness of this heart attack the other night was just a shocker, I think, to so many people. And, you know, you refer to age 73 as young. The oldsters like me love to hear that because there's a lot of folks out there who think 70 is old. But there's a book out there that 70 is titled 70 is the New 50. And so my definition of old has changed dramatically as I have retired in age a little bit.
A friend of mine said it's all because of pickleball. It changed the whole world. I'm not sure if that's the case, but
no.
Yeah, there are a lot of people active and unfortunately getting injured because of pickleball, but that's a whole other topic for another day.
Right.
Tim Murphy, of course, as well. He chaired the Congressional Steel Caucus at one point, and he fought for the 9/11th Airlift Wing out at the Air National Guard's 9/11th Airlift Wing out at Pittsburgh Airport. I'm sorry, not the Air National Guard.
And he fought very hard to keep the commissary. I don't know if you remember that. That was a big issue. There was an effort to try to remove the commissary out from western Pennsylvania, and we have a huge number of veterans in the tri-state area. And the commissary was very important because it obviously provided low-cost or lower-cost items to members of the service. And so he went to battle on that and ultimately was very successful in keeping the commissary and expanding it, actually, new facilities.
Yeah. I want to correct myself. The 9/11th Airlift Wing is part of the Air Force Reserve, not the Air National Guard. There is an Air National Guard base at Pittsburgh Airport as well, but the 9/11 is part of the Air Force Reserve. Right. I want to correct that. After I said it, I realized I was wrong. He at one point, I remember Tim was on our show talking about the fact when he got injured during a congressional delegation visit to Iraq in 2005, that he was injured in the vehicle rollover, and of course he was given pain medication, and he said even though he was a doctor himself, nobody said to him, "Be careful, this stuff can be addictive." No one mentioned that to him. He didn't struggle with that issue, but it was certainly something. The epidemic of synthetic opioid addiction is something he also focused on, wasn't it?
Right, and obviously it's an issue that anybody who is put on a painkiller, an opioid, right after a major surgery is smart to get off it as fast as they can. And I think we all can relate, some of us at least who have had various kinds of surgeries can relate to that. And he certainly had his own personal experience with it, which is why he could speak with such authority, not just on that, but on child health issues. Before he was a politician, he actually, of course, he was a regular psychologist, but he was also on KDK television frequently, my home station, doing medical commentary or psychological commentary. And I think that's how people first got to know him, long before he ran for the state senate, which was really his first office.
Right. When Mike Fisher announced that he was going to not run for re-election but run for state attorney general, and then Tim ran for that seat and ran. He was urged to run. In fact, Mike Fisher himself said, "Just run with the name Murphy. There's a lot of Murphys around here. Austin Murphy, Tom Murphy. Just put Murphy for Senate on your yard signs."
Right. Yeah, Murphys and Flaherty's. The Irish were in control back then.
Quite a few.
And maybe they'll come back with the O'Connors. Now we have the O'Connors.
We do have O'Connors, and might have another O'Connor. You have O'Connors. Might of course have a Lamb coming back as well. We'll wait and see. You and I will talk about that another time.
We'll see. That's a whole other story. 28. Let's get through 26 first.
Exactly. Yeah. When we learned of the death of Tim Murphy, a friend of mine who's known him for a number of years too, said that he was a complicated figure, and that might be a good way to segue into the issues that brought his downfall in Congress. And one of the quickest resignations you'll ever see, within 2 days of word getting out of an extramarital affair, he submitted his resignation. That doesn't happen that quick very often, does it?
No, and complicated is a word I actually used as well the other day when I first heard about this. His downfall was all of his own making. You can't blame anybody else but himself. He engaged in an extramarital affair and then allegedly told his mistress to get an abortion. And that, of course, coming from a guy who had a staunch reputation as ardently pro-life, was such a hypocritical contradiction that when this first came out, he offered and said he would not seek re-election. He told the Speaker, Paul Ryan, at the time that he would serve out his term, but he would step down. But the furor over the hypocrisy was such, and it must have come within the Republican Party, not just the Democrats, who of course would have called for it on a political basis, but from Republicans, that he basically felt he had no other choice than to resign. And resign he did, which led to an open seat, a special election, and the election of Democrat Connor Lamb in that 18th congressional district. I know in talking to Tim about all this later on, I gave him the opportunity to go on television and talk about his life after. And because I think he made a major effort at resolving his family issues. But he wouldn't talk about it publicly. And as a consequence, the issue happened, and then it was like it never happened a year or two later, because he refused to bring it up or to have anyone else bring it up. Not surprising when he passed away, of course. It doesn't take too much Googling to find the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette stories or any of the other newspaper accounts of what happened. But it's very sad, because had he not done what he did, I swear, Doug, he would still be a congressman today.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he was truly committed to that job, enjoyed doing it, worked nonstop.
Yeah, and the public
no one ever
liked
called
him. And
lazy.
No, he went everywhere. He was very visible. He had the support of at least the building trades unions. It was always amazing to Democrats that he won the support of these Democratic unions. The other rub against him that there was a lot of publicity about at the time, and it came out about the same time and maybe a little before, actually, his extramarital affairs, was his treatment of staff. And you may recall some of that as well, Doug, where members of his staff were quite public about the fact that he was a bully and that he was very hard on his staff. Now, some of those things, members of Congress, of course, we've worked for, you and I have both worked for members of Congress. You, I think in particular, had a senator who was rather tough to work with.
The Washingtonian magazine once named Specter as the meanest guy on Capitol Hill. And we were at a news conference one time, and an AP reporter was there, and I was standing next to Specter. And he said, did you see the article? I said, yes. He said, is it true? You see the meanest guy on Capitol Hill? And I looked over at Specter, and I said, well, I haven't worked for everybody on Capitol Hill, so I wouldn't know. And the reporter said, that's not much of an answer. I'm like, that's all you're getting. And here I am standing right next to Specter.
Right.
After the event was over, we got in the car, and Specter jokingly said, why didn't you tell him I was the nicest guy on Capitol Hill? I said, well, Senator, you told us never lie to the media, so I wasn't going to do it today. But, yeah, Tim was known for... Specter was a tough son of a gun to work for, so was Tim. You know, we've had him on the radio a number of times. He didn't go into a hole after his resignation from Congress. I mean, he stayed active. You would see him at public events, at community days, for heaven's sakes. He came out with a book called 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD, where he talked about his own issues and how he kept his family together. And but he certainly didn't go and hide, which is what some politicians do after a scandal. He didn't do that at all.
No, and again, I think, it's not up to us to judge whether the good outweighs the bad. I think, I'm sure it was tough on his family, certainly was on him to have to resign the way he did and in disgrace. But you're right, that did not end his mission, particularly with respect to mental health and child psychology and the like. He was present. And I think, and that's why I think it's fair to say that his passing, as is the passing of anybody, is a huge loss.
Yeah. I used to joke with him. I said, you're not a bad Pittsburgher for a guy who was from Cleveland. And his family, one of 11 kids, family from Cleveland. And obviously, as a Pittsburgher, he didn't talk about that a whole lot, that he was from Cleveland, which is understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, we certainly do appreciate your taking time to talk about this.
Well, it's always good to be with you, Doug.
It's such a shock.
What's that?
It's such a shock. You know,
absolutely. I couldn't believe it when I had a text from one of our other local elected officials, one of our Republican elected officials who had just heard the word, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Because the last time I saw Tim was actually at a Panera's at the Galleria in Mount Lebanon. He was there with, I think, a couple of his grandkids, and it looked good, looked totally fit, and, he would just be the last person you'd expect to have a massive heart attack, sudden, very sudden. And I guess it's a good lesson, all of us, to, it's worth getting that annual checkup. It's worth checking in and making sure. We have no idea what symptoms, if he had any at all. I've heard nothing on that score. But I think the fact that someone who is seemingly quite healthy and relatively young, in his early 70s, that this could happen is a good message to all of us to check in with our doctors from time to time and make sure we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it sounds a little corny, but also, one of those things, you live every moment. I recently lost a friend at 54 of a heart attack in his sleep. And another guy, I skied with him. He was very active. And so you never know. And sad when that certainly happens. Condolences
Well,
to his family.
Well, thank you, Doug. It was good to be with you and all your listeners. And again, I think everybody joins in mourning our late congressman.
That's for sure. Thanks so much, John. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
On a
All the
happier
best.
topic, hopefully. All right.
Thank you. Hang in there.
Thank you. John Delano, of course, is now the retired Money and Politics editor from KDKA TV2. He's been a guest on our show since the very beginning, back when we started this in, when did we start this, Nick? 2004? Good heavens. 2014, rather. We've been doing this show for quite some time now. 2014. That doesn't sound like that should be 12, 13 years ago. Good grief. Again, I'm Doug. That's Nick. Thanks for joining us. We were going to be signing off just about now for a Pirate game. That pregame show was scheduled to start at 6:40. The Pirates playing the New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, in New York. However, that game was, you said, Nick, that game was postponed today at noon? They did it that early. Holy cow. I don't ever recall a game being postponed 7 hours in advance. But given the weather system coming through, no doubt that was a good decision. It will be a day-night doubleheader, which means if you have tickets for the first game, you can't stick around for the second. I remember going to doubleheaders back in the day. Nick, did you ever go to an actual doubleheader where the games were literally 20 minutes apart? Did you ever get to go to one of those?
I did, yes, many years ago in my youth. Yes, I did. It was against Milwaukee. I still remember it. That was the only one.
Those are long days. I remember being, of all things, in Cleveland at the old Municipal Stadium. Is that what it was called up there, that huge monster stadium they had? And there was a doubleheader against the Red Sox. And that's a long day, especially before pitch counts. I mean, before pitch clocks and things like that. You're talking literally like a 9-hour day watching baseball. But I don't think they have any of those. Maybe in a pinch at the end of the season, if they need to rush in a couple of games, they might do it that way. But I don't think literally back-to-back doubleheaders are played at all anymore. Of course,
No.
it's all money.
And they don't schedule double headers anymore. They can only happen from rainouts. They used to schedule them, so those days are over.
I mean, an actual doubleheader where you buy one ticket, you see 2 games.
Right, yeah, that's not
I don't
happening.
even know if
And they never
Yeah, they don't do
schedule
it.
2 games in one day, ever. It's all from rainouts. But, yeah, they don't do the true doubleheaders anymore. But I clear the stadium out, 3-hour break between games. That's all you're going to get anymore.
And we'll be airing both of those games. When's the first one tomorrow, Nick?
1:05, and the second one's at 7:05. So there you go. And then you're in between the games, Douglas.
I am. I'm betwixt the games. I'll be in studio doing the show remotely today. Somebody sent me a text and say, do you have a dog in the studio? I'm like, no, I have a dog in my apartment today, watching my daughter and son-in-law's dog. They're on vacation at the beach.
Good boy.
So, that's why the dog was barking in the background earlier. But that's not unusual. We've
It's been
had
the
that happen.
highlight of the show. I mean, no offense to you or our guest, but, I mean, I think everyone likes to hear the dog in the background.
Hear the dog barking in the background. That's right.
It adds ambiance.
speaking-
You like that word? Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Ambiance. I never heard of dog barking as ambiance, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
Speaking of the weather, we're going to check in with the National Weather Service. When I learned at the beginning of this show that we're going to 7 o'clock, I'm like, well, we ought to check in with the National Weather Service about this weather system coming through. Although where I am right now in southern Allegheny County, it's clear and sunny. It's a nice day out there. But I guess technically, Nick, we're still under the severe weather watch, thunderstorm watch. Is that correct?
Yes, until 8, and then the flood watch until 11. But it looks like the rain and the storms have stopped for the evening, but officially severe thunderstorm watch until 8 for the area, and the area also under a flood watch through 11 this evening.
There we go. Dave Schallenberger from the National Weather Service, meteorologist, will be joining us. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back. We'll check in with him. It's Doug. It's Nick. It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. 68 degrees right now outside of Davis and Davis Attorneys at Law Studios.
It's back again. If you haven't saved the dates yet, clear your calendar for August 8th and 9th, because that's when the incredible Italian Heritage Festival returns to downtown Uniontown. Join us at Story Square on Main Street for an unforgettable weekend. Bring your friends and family to enjoy a wide assortment of delicious food, drinks, and a full lineup of free entertainment, including live music and kids' activities. And remember, you don't need to be Italian to have a great time. That's the Italian Heritage Festival, August 8th and 9th in downtown Uniontown. For scheduling updates, vendor lists, and sponsor spotlights, follow the Sons of Italy of Uniontown and WMBS on Facebook. We can't wait to see you there. Get ready for dirt, diesel, and heart-pounding action at the Fayette County Fair. From Thursday, July 30th to Saturday, August 8th, make your way to the Fayette County Fairgrounds for the experience of a lifetime. They're loaded with action-packed events every day for the entire family to enjoy. See the brute force of the USA tractor, truck, stock, and semi-pulls, the Wild Western Rodeo, or the mayhem of Rise Wrestling. Experience adrenaline-packed motocross races, then buckle up for 2 hardcore demolition derbies. Watch the guarded and deadweight tractor pull, rev up your engines for monster truck races featuring freestyle motocross, and see the madness of Mudmania. Mark your calendars now, fire up your summer, and don't miss a single night of the action at the Fayette County Fair. For the full fair schedule and for a list of advanced ticket locations where you could save $5 and get your Fayette County Fair tickets for just $15, visit FayetteFair.com.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer, finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
The music stopped when I started having knee pain.
For gospel singer Andrea Michaud, knee pain was keeping her from doing what she loves. That's when she turned to orthopedic surgeon Jason Kinney, MD, and the team at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital.
I am singing his praises.
Our patients benefit from large health system expertise and community hospital comfort. Learn more at wvumedicine.org/Uniontown.
Yinzer Palooza Weekend presented by Mrs. T's returns to PNC Park July 24th through the 26th when the Buccos battle the Chicago Cubs. Kick off the weekend Friday night with a free Yinzer themed tea for the first 20,000 fans. Then Saturday, the Doctor is in as the first 20,000 fans receive a Dr. Robbie bobblehead. Then cap off the weekend Sunday afternoon when kids 14 and under take home a Daniel Tiger plush while supplies last. Get tickets at pirates.com.
That's rock and roll music bringing us out of the break. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk over there at the controls. With us till 7 o'clock tonight. I keep saying if you're tuning in right now and saying, why are Doug and Nick talking over the Pirate pregame show? Well, there's not one tonight. It would have started a few minutes ago with the first pitch at 7:15 in New York City. Pirates and the Yankees were scheduled to play tonight. However, the game was postponed several hours ago due to the weather system coming through. That'll be part of a day-night doubleheader. Games will be airing on WMBS. First game, 1:05. Second game, 7:05. Again, Pirates and Yankees tomorrow on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. Speaking of weather, we thought we'd check in with the National Weather Service. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, meteorologist David Schellenberger. David, thanks for joining us today. Some pretty intense storms came through. That's the watch is still going until 8 o'clock tonight. Flood advisory later than that. But right now, it's sunny and clear. in terms of inches of rain, they were predicting several inches of rain today. Do you have the number yet, the official number of the amount of rain that came through as recorded at the National Weather Service in Maine Township?
Yes, we had a little bit of rain earlier. It is looking like we could get a few more instances of rain for the day, but we're pretty much done for the day. We came up with a total of about a half an inch, or 5,600 for the Allegheny County or the Pittsburgh National Weather Service office.
Somebody will be looking at their garden right now with their own measuring stick saying, hey, we got more rain than that. So obviously it does vary from area to area. But we've had some severe weather lately. Again, just a few days ago, 2 more tornadoes were confirmed by the National Weather Service and the investigators, correct?
That is correct.
So what are we up to this? It seems like we're getting more this year than normal, or am I just talking about them more? It seems like we've had, the average is only about 10 for southwestern PA per year, correct?
Yeah, a rough number of that, between 8 and 10 tornadoes a year, yeah.
And how many we've had so far that have been confirmed in southwestern PA?
So in Pennsylvania, we've had 17 confirmed so far this year.
That's looking at double almost standard. And investigators from the National Weather Service do go out to confirm it. How are investigations like that done? What does the process include?
Well, it first starts out with, we have our own data here within the office. Obviously, we go over radar data, look over it after the event has passed. We look over all of our observations. And then we rely a lot on our storm spotters out there and our emergency managers from county. And we rely on those emergency managers to talk to the local fire departments or get and talk to the locals in the area, and they provide them the information if they had any damage in the area. We rely on that a lot before we go out to a survey. For instance, if you have an instance where a couple of days ago we had a team go up to Clarion County, and we had a situation where there was a lot of area to cover, and it's a lot of forested area. So we rely on that information a lot to help us get us in the right direction and determine where the damage has occurred and determine if it's even tornadic.
Yeah, I've heard every time if the investigators find, or someone tells me about a metal shed that might be shaped like a corkscrew, that's an indication of a tornado. Is that the case, or is that just falling?
No, we do look for some sort of twisting at times. A lot of times we look for trees falling in different directions, or we'll actually even see like a convergent type pattern of trees falling, or just this indication of that stronger winds aloft that will like snap a tree or even move a house off a foundation or something like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And obviously, it's not just investigators from the service can go out and just start looking. As you mentioned, they depend a lot on local fire departments, police departments, etc. to say, hey, this is where you want to go take a look. Obviously, you wouldn't just search an entire county. So local folks getting involved, whether they're in an official capacity or otherwise, can really play an important role, correct?
Absolutely. They help us out a ton.
I've heard when folks are urged to contact the National Weather Service to let them know what they may have seen or if they're experiencing or witnessing flooding. But how can they do that the proper way? You just don't want to pick up the phone and call. But what's the best way for someone who wants to be a weather observer for the National Weather Service? What's the process for that?
So if you go to our website, we have a portion over in the program section. It's called the Skywarn section, and there's information on that section on our website where you could actually go in there and learn about how to become a Skywarn spotter. And you can actually be able to, in those classes, they tell you what to look for and how to report it. And that helps us out a lot as well.
And you said Skywarn, W-A-R-N. Am I hearing that right?
Yes, S-K-Y-W-A-R-N, that's the program that we use. And they're referred to as storm spotters, and they report the information to us whenever they see damage or there was an event going on, and they report the information to us.
We always talk about watches and warnings, so take a moment. Once in a while we ask you or your colleague, one of your colleagues, to define what a watch is, what a warning is, what the difference is. Take a moment if you could to explain those.
Absolutely, no problem. So it's usually like a three-tiered process. So you'll see something in our social media, like our Facebook page, saying, hey, look out, coming in the next few days, or something like that. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk or an enhanced risk, and we go on from there and we report that, and then so people know and are aware days ahead. And then as we get to the day of the event, when a watch is issued, that's when the public needs to take heed and be ready. Like, if you got something big planned that day or something like that, obviously if there's a watch issue, maybe hold off on those plans or something like that. And then whenever the warning comes out, that's when you take action. If it's a tornado warning, go to the lowest part of your basement. If it's you're dealing with severe winds or whatnot, obviously go away from windows and things to that extent.
Yeah. So the watch obviously is in between those two, correct? That is correct. Yeah, and of course the warning means people have actually seen and there's been witnesses to that. And those are people who are part of either meteorologists themselves, local officials, or members of Sky, that program as well. They would be witnesses to that as well, correct?
That's correct. And also when we use the warnings, we're also saying that we've seen something radar indicated, something like that as well.
Gotcha. Well, as we always do when we take in the National Weather Service, David, if you could take a few moments and give us the forecast. Of course, our station's located in Fayette County, and we always put you to give you a task of trying to get close to the ridges in the lowlands in Fayette County, which are always going to have very distinct and different forecasts. Go ahead, we'll let you give it a shot for the next few days.
Absolutely, no problem. So we are going to get a break after this first rain goes through. Sure, there may be some lingering showers tomorrow morning over Fayette County, but then after that, we start to dry out later on in the afternoon on Wednesday, and looking in the highs in the mid-70s. And then for Thursday and Friday, we're looking for dry conditions and highs in the mid-70s for Thursday, and then getting up around 80 on Friday. So we've got some dry, nice weather ahead.
And quite a difference from, say, last week when we were in the mid-90s again.
Absolutely.
I was joking with my brother. He's moving to Florida, and I said, well, here you go. This is what it's going to be like for you. Head down south. We appreciate you taking time to join us from the National Weather Service in Union Township. Jason from Pittsburgh International Airport, meteorologist Dave Schellenberger. I don't think we've had you on the show before, so thanks for joining us today, David. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Well, Nick, this is when you and I usually talk a little hard baseball and give predictions for what's happening tonight. But, last night was disappointing. 7 earned runs by Ashcraft. That was, he's been struggling lately, hasn't he?
Yes, but that's a really good Yankee lineup. Again, you're on the road, a hostile environment, but I think he'll bounce back. He had an all-star first half, and you're going to have bumps. I mean, look at Skeens this year after the 2 record-breaking seasons he had. He's had a bumpy beginning, but he's coming around a bit. Skeens had a great outing, I thought, Sunday against Cleveland. So we shall see. What are they now, 52 and 49, so pretty good in the wild card race. And you have the good teams coming up, the Yankees 2 tomorrow, then the Cubs this weekend. So see if they can hold their own against the 2 top-notch teams.
It is nice to say that our favorite team is in contention. This is from DK Pittsburgh Sports the other day. The Cardinals, 51-47, blew a 7-run lead in the loss to the Diamondbacks and Marlins. And then the Marlins rather suffered a 6th straight loss at the hands of the Brewers. That puts the Pirates, this is a couple of days ago, yesterday, 52 and 48, and a 3-way tie for the 3rd National League wildcard spot. A lot more work to do for this team, but they're certainly in the hunt, and that's Jose Negron from DK Pittsburgh Sports. It's nice to be able to say that on July 21st. It's been a long time. There was a stat the other day I saw. They were 4 games over 500 for the first time since 19. What was it? 19.
2018.
Not 1920. Wow, 2018. That's oh, wow. 8 years since we've been 4 games.
That's 8 years. Yeah, that's rough. That's hard to think about. I didn't realize it was that long.
It's nice to be able to say, I was going to say 19 something, but no, it's 2018. So yeah, that's it's nice to see them where they are right now. A lot of season left to go, but there's been a lot of times when we've been in June thinking, dear God, they're out of it already. So,
Right.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the offense has been much better than expected. If the pitching were what it was last year, combined with this offense, they could be in first place. Maybe not. The Brewers have been really good. The bullpen has struggled again. This offense has been great as Merlin Valdez, Brandon Lau was a great acquisition. In the offseason, Ryan O'Hearn as well had a 10 RBI game and has been consistent throughout the year. They have some dead spots in the lineup, but a very good offensive performance by your Pirates this year. And again, another 2 months left. We'll see if they can get that wild card spot.
I love statistics in baseball. You and I both do. And this is one of those crazy statistics. And yes, they play 9 innings. They don't play 7. But there's a great stat that if Pirates played 7-inning games, they'd have the best record in baseball.
Is that true? Boy, if only they could get that passed for Major League Baseball. Maybe in their next labor negotiations they can approve that, the Pirates. They do that in high school, 7-inning games. Wow, yeah, the bullpen's been a very, very sore subject for them. Very rough.
Yes, it's bizarre. Nobody, the hitting last year was the problem. This year, my gosh, they're leading the league. They've got more home runs as of 2 weeks ago than they had all of last season. They're leading at one point, maybe they still are, and runs scored. They have these outrageous outbursts of runs. Well, we'll see what happens. Again, no game tonight, unfortunately, folks. It was called some time ago. I said that earlier. Is it unusually early to call a game? Don't they usually wait at least 2 hours out so people don't make it to the game? But you said they called it at noon?
It was very early in the day. It was very early in the day. I think that's a Yankee thing because they called their game Saturday very early. It was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. They called that off for an 8 o'clock start. So, in New York, they claim to be tough, but I don't think they are. No, I just, if they have really bad storms coming, no risk getting the fans in there. And, if there's any reason to not take the New York subway, I'm going to take it. So if someone says the game's canceled and they can avoid a ride in that awful subway, I would.
2 p.m. it says here. Now, this is AI. AI is never wrong.
No.
2
p.m.
Yankees set up today's
Yeah.
game against the Pittsburgh Pirates around 2 p.m., roughly 5 hours before the scheduled 7:05 p.m. first pitch. The postponement was due to impending thunderstorms and a heavy rain forecast in the New York area. And as you've been reporting, that the teams will make up the game second half of a split doubleheader on Wednesday. The original scheduled series finale, the first game was originally to be at 1:05. It'll be followed by a makeup game at 7:05. So there you go. And WMBS will be airing both of those games yesterday. So the pregame show for the 1:05 game will be at 12:40. Do I have that right?
Yes, we're going to join at 1 o'clock. We'll join at 1.
Oh, we are joining at 1. Okay. Oh, that's right, because we'll have the 4-hour news with CJ, for heaven's sake. You can't give up that 4-hour news. He does a nice job with that. And then the pregame show tomorrow evening will be at 6:40, first pitch 7:05. And that's a wrap for the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm Doug. That's Nick. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow during the game.
Investment in our defense. I'm Lee Silicera, Fox News. War Secretary Pete Hegseth before a Senate panel as President Trump's request $1.5 trillion to fund the military. Hegseth says the U.S. needs to compete not just on the ground, but using technology to battle rivals.
We need to be able to do it at speed, at scale, with autonomy, with AI, with exquisite high cost and low cost, to be ahead and stay ahead so that you're not just able to do what we need to do in the Strait of Hormuz, but deter adversaries
adversaries like Russia and China.
Democratic Senator Patty Murray of Washington questioned why the Pentagon needs more money for the war in Iran.
This administration has tried to sell this as an emergency request, but it may be better understood as an attempt to skirt the normal appropriations process.
Senator Murray said the administration is getting